Have to turn the mic on. There we go. So today we're going to be working on a 2010 A1278 that does not turn on. This is an older one. It's I think a 820-2879. There's a couple common issues with these. This one does not appear liquid damaged yet, but I haven't put it under the microscope. But there's a few common issues with these that we're going to go over and how to check for them. One of these being a dead MCP79. It's super common on this board. And how you check for that is resistance to ground on PP3V42. Generally, I like to see anything generally below 17 kiloohms is going to be dead. Above that, I like to see above 30, I would say. Go ahead and pull the board out of the enclosure as fast as I can. It's been a while since I worked on in 2010. I sometimes don't like working on these because they tend to die if, well, generally with older stuff it's harder to get parts too, so I have had a A1181 that's sentimental value to someone. The board is beyond repair, and I've went through several boards, and none of the boards that I'm getting there, all of the boards are trash. And that's the thing with the older ones, is you often will get trash parts. Come on, webcam connector. There we go. Yeah, that's the thing with this A1181. I want to fix it for the guy, but there has to be a limit where I stop buying parts for it, because every single part I buy is going to be trash. It's just not practical. I advise you guys do the same. Put a limit on the years of the stuff that you work on, because that'll lead to a lot of unnecessary headaches. And then, of course, if something does fail that's unrelated, you're going to get blamed for it every single time. Give me 1 second. Okay. So I forgot what I was saying. Another common thing that throws people off on these is the power pads. You'll get people that say, well, I plug it in and don't get fan spin. No, you haven't told the board to turn on yet. These are particular. You need to initiate SMC on-off L for these to work. Where is my keyboard? let me check live chat real quick. It's time for another cup of water, says Nasera. That is correct. That app is helpful. There's no sound still? Okay, so let's have a look at this board. Well, first, one of the most common faults on this board is going to be a PP bus short. So the first thing we're going to do is plug it in. Okay, sound is good. Excellent. So I'm going to measure PP bus G3 hot. And that is 12.53 volts. So that's not our problem. Let's continue looking around the board. And see if anything obvious jumps out. Looks pretty clean. But on this side, little bit of corrosion. That doesn't look too bad though. Okay, so now that the board is out of the enclosure, let's plug it in and see if it turns on with the power pads. So we get a green light, of course. No fan spin. So the power pads on these are going to show up right here. What we're going to do is move our tweezers around a little bit to make sure we're shorting them, and still no fan spin. So we have to let's check if SMC on-off L is at least at 3.3 volts, because that would ruin our troubleshooting here. If it wasn't, because we have to initiate that power sequence before we can get anything. And it's 3.3 volts. Unplug it one more time. Next thing I'm going to check is going to be resistance to ground on PP3V42, because these are kind of cancer boards and that often will be low. And this is an 820-2879 like I thought. It's been a long time since I fixed one of these. 2879. And we can measure that over by U5010, which is going to show up right here. We can do that on pins 2 and 3. So resistance to ground, to do it in meter set on 20K. I want to see if it's below that. I'm going to put my red lead on ground, and it is 10 kilo ohms to ground. Given the fact that that is 10 kilo ohms to ground, wait, now it's 38 kilo ohms. What's going on here? 38.1 kilo ohms. 38.2. Is my meter trolling me? I need to get a better meter. Oh, I know why. Okay, I'll continue. It may not be trash, it may be trash, maybe trash. Maybe trash, may not be trash, I don't know. So, I'm going to start with the S5 rails. I'm going to short the power pads again. Hello, Miles. First rail is going to be PP5V S5. Going to show up on this cap up here. We're going to switch back to voltage mode. Make sure I have the right component, the side of the component. And that is 5 volts. So next one is going to be PP3V3 underscore S5. Which is going to show up, looks like, right over here on pin 4. That is 3.3 volts. So now move on to S4. If PM sleep S4 or wait, these don't have S4. These have S3. So PP5V S3. See what that is. That is 0 volts. Now what about PP3V3 S3? That is also 0 volts. Now what's weird is these don't have a S4 power state, but they still have PM sleep S4L. And I'm guessing that's going to be 0 volts because the MCP is dead, and that's where it comes from. That's going to show up right over here. And that is 0 volts. Of course it is. So at this point we could have a dead MCP. Or let's peel up this speaker here. Nothing funny over here, but our only signs of damage is going to be right here near that cap and that resistor near our SMC. Now I kind of doubt this is the problem, but this is all we have to go by is right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hot air. I'm kind of going to burn this dust away so I can have a better look. and then we'll probably put some flux right there and heat it a little bit and see if it resolves. Oh, it's on desktop audio. Let me turn that off, or else it's going to constantly go off. So, we have some corrosion on this cap and that resistor. Now, that resistor doesn't look too good, does it? That resistor looks like it's probably not doing its job. But let's check this cap for a short. No short, that's obviously good. This is not good. Or maybe it is, I don't know. But either way, we know we had some liquid right here. So before we do anything, we're not going to touch this yet, but I want to look on the other side of the board, right around this area, because we know we had liquid there. And I don't see anything notable. Okay, so I'm going to grab a donor. I'm going to put some flux on here. I'm going to replace that resistor and that cap, refill the SMC, and hope that this resolves. It may, it may not. If it doesn't, it's probably end of the road right here, because PM Sleep S4L missing on these boards is cancer. That's almost never going to be resolved. Just add the proper amount of flux for liquid damage repair, as always. And let's try and find a 2879 donor. Should be plenty here. I used to get so many of these things. This one has liquid damage, but okay, let me turn on my fume extractor so I don't die from the flux fumes. Change the SMC. No, the SMC is probably just fine. Tony, you need to stop that. You cannot change an SMC without measuring stuff like that. That is a bad habit. I saw UPS, but I guess not. They're supposed to be here today. UPS said I was closed yesterday, and I wasn't. Hmm. Did they leave it next door? How's it going? Hmm? Tim? Thank you. Yeah, Cormac, that's exactly what happened. They didn't even try because I looked at the cameras. They just came right now, though. Okay, let's plug in the DC in board and let's see if this turns on. The thing with Postal Service is so many shops use them, and the thing is the parcel lockers here are all broken and the keys are all broken, so oftentimes they'll put computers in the parcel locker, and I can't get them out because the key is broken. And you think the Postal Service is going to help you with that? No. You can leave a note in the mailbox for the carrier, they're going to ignore it most of the time. FedEx Ground is just as bad. FedEx Ground will come hour before we open, and then won't come back later in the day, or he'll leave it at some other store around here, and then yeah, they can't be doing that. So still no PM Sleep S4L. This is most likely dead, given the fact the liquid damage that it had. We're not missing any rails. Which is no good. Nothing else suspicious looking, so we will move on. I'm not going to spend more than this amount of time on a machine this old. So we're going to get one out of the box that just came right now, because this should be hopefully more fixable. Need something sharp. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. It goes in, but doesn't come out of the parcel lockers. I have to fight with the keys that are bent, spray the locks with WD-40 to get them to open, and even then, sometimes they won't open. They leak too, so if it's raining, the boxes will get wet. Postal Service ain't gonna help you with that either. Well, they may, but it's gonna take them 4 to 6 months to replace the locks, which is, you know. And FedEx Ground is the same thing. FedEx Ground is franchised and not, the only decent one around here is FedEx Express. We also had, and this was the first time this happened, the Postal Service actually, there was 2 MacBooks in a box. The Postal Service opened it up, took one out, and left the non-working one in the box. They took out the working one and left the non-working one in the box. Which is obviously no good. But try and get, when something like that happens, try and get help with the Postal Service. You won't. At least FedEx is somewhat better in that aspect, that if something goes wrong, they'll usually help you. Postal Service, you are on your own. You need to hire a shipping person to unpack stuff. Fighting with packing material is no fun. What's wrong with you, I wonder? This is a Retina. It was supposed to be an A1278, but it's a Retina. Even better, because I get more money for Retinas. Let me clean my work area up. Can never have a messy work area. Of course, mine is fairly messy right now, but look at this ticket. What is wrong with you? Hopefully it's an easy one. Not some PM Sleep S4L nonsense. P5. Yeah, Cormac. Better not take my name. There's one company in like England or someplace that's called KCRS, and they work on MacBooks, I guess. I don't know if I was there before them or they were there before me, but yeah, I could really care less. What I don't like is, I mean, competitors are going to copy you. Yes, Tony, I've had a red face since I was 4 years old. This is a clean looking MacBook. I'm sad. Okay. Let's plug it in, let's see what this does. This is a 3332, so maybe it's easy. Maybe it's a U8900. Let's plug it in. Looks cold. It is freezing in here. That is 100% correct. That's why I have a heater right there. Unplug trackpad and keyboard. Let's plug it in again. Without left I/O board, that can cause it too. And we still have no power, so we have a genuine board issue here. So let's see if we can figure this out. Maybe it'll be an ISL issue. It's been a long time since I've had a simple ISL. It's been like an ISL with nonsense. So what I mean by that is like fix your PP bus issue, and then you run into PM Sleep S4L issue, or CPU V-core issue, something like that. Now, me wishing for a simple ISL issue is just going to jinx it, so. My first repair I did was quarter fan spin, and that was ISL, believe it or not. It was quarter fan spin, but if you held the power button down, it would turn on, it wouldn't charge, and it was extremely slow. And what I figured out is resistance to ground on PP bus was extremely low, which was most likely causing one of the current sensors, the PP bus current sensor, to think there was an issue and throttle the CPU. I removed the ISL and it went up. I put a new ISL on, and the current sensing resistors were blown too, and then it worked. That was the first repair I ever did. That was with no microscope. It was, well, I had a cheap digital microscope that was, just put it this way, it took me 2 hours, I think, to solder 2 current sensing resistors, but also the thing was I wasn't that good, but even without a little digital microscope, I couldn't have done it. Webcam connectors, I try and be more careful now. I try and work it out with my tweezers, not just pull. I had one that I pulled and it ripped the wires out of the back of it, which is no good. Yes, running gremlins. I know all about gremlins, where piece of equipment can be working perfectly fine, then you leave it for a second, then it stops working. So like if I have an intermittent issue MacBook, I could watch it all day, not crash, but then the minute I, leave the store to go to the bathroom or check the mail or something, it'll come back and it would have crashed when I was gone. That always happens. So if you have an intermittent issue, don't watch it, just leave it alone and watch it'll create itself. One last screw. And the stupid connector that I always forget for who knows what. It's for a headphone jack or something. This is probably going to suck because it looks perfectly fine. I see no corrosion on this board whatsoever. But, okay. I'll take what I can get. Hi, how can I help you? This is Tim. How can I help you? Yeah, we just put it in our ticketing system. The small one, yes, the small one should be fixed. We found a broken trace in the SPI termination bus, fixed that. We just have to reassemble, then run it through some tests to make sure it's good to go. But yeah, that one should be done. One of your A1278s actually just got done with. It's most likely going to be a no fix as a dead MCP89. But we'll try a couple more things on that one before throwing in the towel, and I'll get back to you on that one. The air is going to be 150 plus shipping. We'll probably combine them in one package, so shipping will be less. Alright, no problem, thank you. No problem. Bye. This board looks perfectly fine, so what is this missing? Chris Long is here. Let's plug it in. And let's check voltage on PP-Bus G3 Hop. This is going to show up on our backlight fuse. How's things going, Chris? And PP-Bus G3 Hot is 1.61 volts, which is no good. PP-Bus G3 Hot should not be 1.61 volts. And let's see if we have a short on PP-Bus G3 Hot. And we have a dead short on PP-Bus G3 Hot. So, what could be shorted? Let's just have a look. I always like to inject voltage, but let's look closely and see if we could find what is shorted. Oh, you better not have corrosion on the CPU MOSFETs. No, I don't think so. CPUs didn't get warm. But let's keep looking. Adam, I haven't really figured out a way to make that stop. It hasn't done it. I think it's just the camera is buggy. I don't see any solder balls popping out of any components. This cap looks funny. No, it's alright. What about on this side? Any of our caps under here look bad? Not that I can see. Okay, let's inject power. Switch my power cord to my DC power supply. DC power supply has a special logo on it. A magnet, so no one messes with my DC power supply. This is what the magnet says, look. Danger, do not touch. Not only will this kill you, it'll hurt the whole time you are dying. I'm going to put this on a quick now. So let's find a nice spot to inject voltage on this board. I don't think ultrasonic cleaning is necessary. It's not liquid damaged. So this should be a relatively quick one. Unless it's the CPU. Yeah, give me a call, Adam. I'm interested to hear about that. want a nice big capacitor. But in this case I'm going to use this resistor right here. Actually no, because that's kind of close to that probe point. I don't want to kill the PCH. I'll solder it on the fuses, which should be around here. These are our PP bus fuses. What we could do is remove them to see what side the short is on. If it's on the system side or creation side. I don't really want to do that. I'm just going to solder it right here. And we'll see what gets hot. Hopefully the CPU isn't dead, or the GPU, because on these boards that does happen. And I'm kind of always wary about PP bus shorts on boards like this, but it's most likely going to be the CPUs really randomly. On this board or on any board, they really don't die randomly. I've seen a few, but they don't really die randomly. It usually takes liquid. So I'm going to back voltage down. We don't want 20. Do 8 volts. Where's my alligator clip? And it pulls it down to 3. Yeah, not only are ceramic caps cheaper, Chris, they're... Alright, so we're pulling 5 amps, and is the heatsink getting hot? I think it is. And the heatsink is getting warm. Of course it is. Who would have thought that I ever get an easy board? Unless it's a cap around the CPU. But let's see if we're getting 3 volts on V-core, since since PP bus is being pulled down. Do we get that on V-core? We're not leaking to V-core. Those models still use all-in-one CPU power MOSFET. This one is different. This one doesn't use those. Let's take off the heatsink. Maybe there's a cap under the heatsink that's doing it. But yeah, generally this is going to be in... The heatsink isn't getting burning hot like what I would expect. I would expect generally hotter if it was a CPU. But there could be a cap underneath that is mimicking that. I agree with that, Chris. The soldering community is turning into kids fighting. It's getting ridiculous with that, and then the low prices, follow you down to the ground, and it's only digging their own grave. Now see these solder balls right here? Those could just be for manufacturing, or those caps could have blown out. I don't know. But let's do the same thing. I'm going to connect it to ground right now. Yeah, this is probably karma for the other day on Lewis's stream. This... Yeah, that's probably... Let's peel this up to see if we have corrosion. Pure novice here. This is rare for these to die like this, though. These usually won't die without corrosion. And the fact the CPU isn't getting that hot, we're gonna clean it. Chris, this is already at 8 volts and 5 amps. And the CPU, it's pulling 5 amps, but the CPU isn't getting crazy hot. It's warm, but it's not hot. No, I mean, it's not barely even warm. It's like lukewarm. I'm gonna get the FLIR right now, Cormac. Oh, I think I just broke something off the CPU. I'm gonna see these caps under here? I wonder if one of these is shorted. We're gonna take this off. It's possible one of the caps on the CPU itself got shorted. That's what I'm gonna do right now, pure enough. I just want to inspect. CPU doesn't look like it exploded out or anything like some of the PCHs do. But let's see. I'm gonna plug this in and let it get hot. Who says 12 volts? Alright, we're at 12 volts. That ain't hot. The CPU is not hot. If there was a 5 amp short in the CPU itself, it would be on fire right now. Let's see if there's any voltage leakage. There's no voltage leakage to the CPU on the coils. Alright, it's FLIR time. I can't find this. But 5 amps? I mean, something should be getting hot. Yeah, high quality Apple so-called thermal paste. Oh wow. It's the GPU. The GPU is shorted. You sound like all the iPhone please bros right now. No, I don't. You shut up. Bingo. GPU is shorted. So, how do we fix this? We don't. It's trash. Simple as that. Yeah, Chris, you bring me bad luck. So, most likely what happened, these MOSFETs shorted and killed the GPU. I could go replacing the MOSFETs and U8900, but it would be kind of a waste of time. So watch this. If I take off these MOSFETs, these three, let me see. These three are GPU, I think. Yeah, these are all for GPU, so I'm going to rip these MOSFETs. This has a Gmux, for sure. I've changed them. Yeah, it's a 3332. Let this cool down, and I'm going to show you that the fan is going to spin now. Because removing the GPU MOSFETs is 100% fixed. 100% ready to go back to the customer with no GPU MOSFETs. Check this out. We have no more PP bus short, and once the GPU cools down to where it's not gonna... Actually, who cares about that? Let's plug it in. And what do you know? It's fixed. There's fan spin. See that? Remove CPU MOSFETs or GPU MOSFETs. 100% fix. You don't need MOSFETs. Who cares about MOSFETs? Better off without those MOSFETs. Why did Apple even put those on there? I mean, they're clearly not needed. That one kind of has a chance. I'll probably replace the MOSFETs in the controller and hope for the best. It may or may not work, but I'll give it a shot. But on to the next one. So let's grab the next MacBook to work on. Let's see. So 1286. This is a 1278. What's wrong with this A1278? Will this A1278 be fixable? Probably not. Of course it'll boot without NVIDIA. We could even take the MOSFETs off the CPU and it'll boot just fine. All that's optional equipment. CPU is optional, GPU is optional, screen is optional. You don't need any of that stuff. You need a fan and you need power. That's all you need. Oh, this is going to be fun. You stripped all the screws on this. Rob Brown is here. Oh wait, you didn't strip those screws. You used a P5 and an A1278. It's not hard to not lose screws. I don't know how so many shops do that. What's wrong with you? Well, our first problem that I notice here our very first problem is this. So, this is obviously going to beep, but we need to, when you get RAM, what you have to do is you have to push it in like that, and then you push it down, and then it'll work. But let's plug this in and see what it does. I would laugh if that was the problem. Another old kind of trashy MacBook. And these FETs on that one that we just worked on, let's see. Yeah, that's no good. Burned. Watch this work. I'm going to plug it in. We get a green light on the charger. Let's hit the power button. Oh, we didn't get a green light. Wait. No fan spin. So we don't have any fan spin. The first rail we're going to check on this is going to be PP bus. Let's have a look around our ISL. ISL looks fine, but that doesn't mean anything. Sometimes the ISLs fail. .53 volts, of course. So this is going to be another one that is going to be absolutely miserable, because it's probably going to be a dead MCP89. There's no liquid right here. Why did MOSFET fail? I don't know, I'm not a MOSFET. If I was a MOSFET, I could tell you. Did you put this in an ultrasonic cleaner? Because this looks like it. I'd imagine life as a MOSFET, especially on an Apple board, would be kind of lousy. I don't think I'd want to live as a MOSFET on an Apple board. That would not be fun. Okay, we're going to pull this board out. It's getting hot in here, so I'm going to take off my jacket. Turn off the heater. Okay, we need a T6. Broken trace via somewhere. I vote for another dead MCP89. Or 69, whatever this old piece of junk has. Nice pocket on my shirt. Where Justin says, where's Super Chat when you need it? Yeah, right. Need to donate. I didn't really know I had a pocket in my shirt, to be honest. Chat is crazy. What's interesting is the channel's female viewership dropped to like 12%. So I don't know what happened. I kind of think that whole 77% was just some YouTube algorithm error, because that makes sense. You know, this I would be happy if I could fix this MacBook, but I probably won't be able to, because when you get days like this with bad luck, it usually tends to carry on everything that you work on. This board is 100% clean. What board is this? This is a 2879B. Again, the same board as before. This looks like the AT&S version, not the Compal version. So we're going to start with an inspection as usual, as always. No corrosion there. John, you shut up. We've already had one, we've already had one Dead MCP today. I don't need it. We've had a dead MCP and a dead CPU. I don't need another one. What is this? What is this? Who did this? Seriously. Look, well, what? Someone hurt this MacBook. Someone injured you. Poor MacBook. Someone injured poor MacBook. Have to be nice to MacBook. You can't just take your iron and... Ow, I burned myself. That hurt. So I removed the cancer. Now let's see if this turns on now. What was that supposed to be? I think that was a tantalum cap. For audio. Get a green light. And what do you know? Fan spin. That was hilarious. This had previous someone... someone had an idea to get a Radio Shack iron and hurt this motherboard. And that's what happened. This is why you need to be nice to your MacBook. You cannot injure your MacBook with an iron. And that was a tantalum capacitor. So I'm gonna harvest this audio connector, replace all that. I wonder if the other board has the same kind of thing. I just don't understand what people... I don't know. Yeah, it was probably pulling 3v3 down or something. You know what I'm thinking on the 2879 before? I'm pretty sure if there's anything wrong in the power sequence, you will not get PM Sleep S4L. Is Piernov here? If Piernov is here, I have a question for you. On Core 2 Duos, if you have an issue in the power sequence, that will cause PM Sleep S4L not to be asserted, right? That's what I think. Kind of like how the newer boards... What line was that on? Okay, let me check. 2879. This was missing the microphone too, and I better replace the microphone because I don't really trust anyone messing with that now. That was for PP4V5 audio analog. And the cap that was shorted was audio detect something to ground, so hard to say. But either way, now I'm going to harvest this connector. I'm going to use a little bit of low melt. This is the donor board right here. I don't want to use my hot air. Is that, yeah, it's probably, where's my low melt? Here it is. Yeah, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'll just no, I don't want a hot air from the bottom because then the battery connector is going to melt and I don't want to breathe battery fumes, the battery connector fumes. So we're just going to use a little bit of low melt. This one's going to be tricky. Can't avoid melting in a little bit. Not going to functionally affect the connector though. Yeah, but the thing is if Miles, you saw how the board was before. If I solder that to the board, when they get it back, it's probably going to end up ripped up from the board with all the pads. So I'm going to try and pull this connector. The hot air is at 141 degrees. It might come up. There you go. Oh wow, much messages. Much messages. Okay, what was I doing? I forgot. Right, so now we have to... I'm going to set our connector aside because we obviously don't want to put that on while we're hot airing and replacing the other components. So I'm going to set that aside. Where's my patient board? Here it is. Who thinks I could replace an MCP with hot air? I've seen someone do it from the bottom. Would that be a cool project to replace the MCP with hot air? Who thinks I should try that? That might be fun. I want a small nozzle for this. I think the MCP would be doable with a lot of flux because... I don't know. What I could try and do... These CPUs have huge balls on them. So does the MCP. But the CPU... I think I'm going to try and replace a Core 2 Duo CPU with... by hand. No, it wouldn't be a do it for work, you know, to have it work. It would just be something cool to do. No, I know it's probably not going to work, but it's time for more water. Water prevents me from dying. grab our connector. What I gotta do is, I don't like this low melt being on here. I guess there isn't much to be concerned about there. The ground pins, I'll try and solder them, but if you can't get them soldered, it's not the end of the world. Come on. I made a mess. I want to clear this off of the... No, that's alright. The main danger is with the low melt is if it gets hotter than 58 Celsius, it's going to melt. So I try and remove as much of it as I can. However, it's not really the end of the world if you leave some on there. Come on. All this for a mic that no one uses. Yeah, but you know, when you send it back with no mic, you're gonna have that one customer that's gonna complain, "Oh, my microphone doesn't work. You broke it." So yeah, we get mic back. Just in such an odd position because I have no room. That's the main issue here. Enough on my iron. I'll try and get this ground pin, but all the rest... Actually, you know what? Screw the ground pins. It doesn't need that. Okay, so this is going to get ultrasonicked and go back. Let's see if there's any other nonsense around here. Because someone did take an iron to this poor MacBook, and that's never good. But I think this is okay. So I'm going to move on to the one we were working on earlier, which was an OPM Sleep S4L. I'm going to check a couple more things. I think that's the same programmer I have, Arnold. But I would take the BIOS chip off to program it, not the clips. Okay, so let's just check around because this, you know, you never know. How do you get thermal paste up here? How did thermal paste get up here? Seriously. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and check all rails for shorts. Actually, let me check what Piranov always says to check is a pulse on MagSafe. Because this could be a knocked off resistor too. Justin Millman thinks I should inspire change from within. I have a feeling that Soren's server would be just completely filled with Please Bro. Alright, let me go check all rails for shorts. So starting with PP5VS3, 3V3S3, 3V3SO, 5VSO, all those. I'm considering, when I get Please Bros that message me on Facebook, I'm considering just replying with just absolute gibberish that makes no sense and see what they do. Maybe if I did that, they would stop thinking that I'm smart and they would stop messaging me. There's so many of them message me. I think I should do that, just reply with nonsense that makes no sense. It's just a complete jumble of words and see what they do. Next one is PP5VS3. think I already checked that, which I did. There are no shorts. What I'm gonna do, what's resistance on 3v42 again? My stream is making people sleepy, it seems like. $39 kiloohms, that's low on 3v42. Yeah, this is probably a dead MCP. One thing I can try though, we're gonna try a new BIOS chip. These aren't tied to the ME region. BIOS chip can cause the issue that we're having. So I'm gonna try a new BIOS. No, these don't need a matching ME region, it's a Core 2 Duo. There we go. Yeah, there's no short on main power rails, it's just missing PM sleep S4L. So if BIOS doesn't work, I'm going to hook up my oscilloscope. And we'll check for a pulse like Piernov says. Because Piernov knows a lot more about board read, but TPS chip is fine. Arnold. Piernov knows a whole lot more about board repair than I do. What did I screw up? Now we have no green light at all. There we go. Green light. No fan spin. So now I'm gonna... Chris, I'm in the same boat. I have no idea what I'm doing with an oscilloscope. Ah, my back hurts. So, I don't have 3 hands, so what I'm gonna do is... See this hook thing, right? I'm going to put a little wire around here, solder this to the board, hook this on the ground plane while I work on it, and I'm also going to get the oscilloscope view on screen so you guys can see too. But let me grab a little bit of wire. Take the coating off of the wire so I can... Chris, your probe isn't fine like mine, look. So, here's my probe. Is yours like this? Yeah, I'll set it to 1 volt. Something Piranov. We'll see how it goes. Now where does PM Sleep S4L show up on this board? It's going to show up on these 2 resistors. Oscilloscope, let's turn it on. Shut off channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, turn on channel 1. Let's see, how do I adjust? Alright, manual trigger around 1 volt. I'm going to plug in the charger. Let me put on the window capture. Let me get the oscilloscope software started. You know what, I don't want to plug that stupid thing in right now. But, so, you guys are going to have to take my word for it. Okay, I'm watching. It's so hard to miss. No pulse at all. Oh, that's why. Oh, wait, no. One more time. No pulse. So I'm guessing this is trash. Well, at least we fixed one. That's a start. So with that being said, I think I'm gonna cut it off here. RTC clock, and I'll check those things. On these boards though, from what I've seen, it's usually not that. That should be present all the time, or do I have to hit the power button? I'll hit the power button just to be sure. clipping this darn alligator clip on, I would really prefer, maybe there even is an oscilloscope lead like that with two leads on it and not with the stupid alligator clip, because the alligator clip gets really annoying. Okay, clock is going to show up right over here. And we have 60 hertz on there. That doesn't sound right. Oh wait, I'm measuring the way wrong thing. I'm measuring ground. Silly. That ain't right. 125 kilohertz? It's going all over the place. I'll be right back. Give me about 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes, but Okay, let's check again. Wait, what am I doing? Not the multimeter, oscilloscope. Yeah, we're not getting 32 kilohertz. We're at 160 kilohertz, 100 kilohertz. It's just jumping everywhere. That doesn't look good. Okay, so what is causing this? Maybe the crystal failed. Let's check 25 kilohertz now. Okay, 25 is absolutely perfect. 32 one more time. Sure, it's not random noise. It could be, but let's check on... I'm going to check on the same board measuring the same point. Yeah, it's jumping all around. Okay. I'm going to use our working board and I'm going to measure in the same area and see what we get, because this is a definite anomaly, I think. I could be wrong, but this board works. Okay, see, this is perfect. 32 kilohertz, nice waveform, and it's fine. The crystal is bad on that board. The crystal probably cracked. I hear an alarm. Yeah, let me just double check it on the schematic, but I'm 99% sure it's a crystal. That'd be nice. Let's look. Y2810. Yep. We're gonna change that thing and hope for the best. Oh, it's probably dead MCP then. If could try the crystal, but I'm guessing it's gonna be a dead MCP. Either crystal or, as it always is, MCP. Yep, I know. At least Lewis got his payback. It's only fair. Well, this thing ain't fun to solder. How long does your JSO2 last? I've only had two. One of them died recently, and the other one is still fine. Ugh, flux right in the face. Why is this bridging? Whatever, that's soldered. I'll work on the rest of my iron. I know they don't take much heat. I might have killed it with the heat. Oh, Piranha's not a mod? I forget. There's just so many people that I just forget sometimes. Piranha is now a mod, for sure. I don't see how the crystal would just fail, though. The MCP seems far more likely to just die than the crystal would. I could be wrong, though. Donor. Yeah, I don't have a new one. I've replaced them off donors on all kinds of stuff, and they work usually, so... Yeah, same garbage, cycling. It's changed though, now it's not always... Yeah, I'm gonna try another crystal. I'm just gonna try one more because I think I might have cooked that one. This time I'm gonna be more careful with heat. That's, yeah, NVIDIA MCP. Trash. This board has a good MCP too. Okay. Let me replace, which caps are they? Let me see. Look at the schematic. C2810, 2811. Okay, I'll replace those two. I don't like heat this close to the MCP. I think we'll be okay. Has a heatsink on it, so I think it'll be okay. I don't think it's gonna... I think I will solder the crystal with an iron. R2810? Okay. Make sure it's 0 ohm. That's what I'll do. I'll just... Zero ohm. Okay, hot air or iron on the crystal. I think I want to do iron. I don't trust Can't tell if that's soldered. Might be. Whatever, that can stay there. Okay, here this goes. Did it change anything? What? We have a waveform now, but it's 60 hertz. Huh? How is that possible? All of our clock lines are 60 hertz now. That is really strange, unless I shorted to ground on something. But let's check and see if it turns on now, just in case the oscilloscope is funny or the person using the oscilloscope doesn't know what they're doing. No. I have a feeling Is the top of this ground? Let's see. I'm thinking, I don't know what you mean, Cormac. Okay, I'm done with this board. I think this is hopeless. Should I try one more crystal? Okay, this time, how's this? I'll take a crystal off a donor with low melt, and then solder it onto this board. But usually, I've replaced crystals before, and they're not like this. We'll try one more crystal, and then we're done. I'm gonna go get lunch. I'll clean the solder off of this just in case that's doing something. I don't think it is though. Let's grab one more crystal. I'll be more careful removing it. Measure the crystal I took off. I'll just change it. But this one, I don't know. There's Chinese honey right here. Where's my little piece of low melt? I know I had that. Yeah, that's I think too. Vladimir, it's just, but that would mean the crystal's open circuit, or something in that area is open circuit. Where'd I put my low melt? I need my low melt to take this off safely, I think. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna go get lunch. I'll be back later. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm hungry, so I'm gonna stop right now because I'm not gonna get anything done like this. So I will see you guys in the next stream.